A Zimbabwean political analyst says China's sovereignty claim is legitimate. Alexander Rusero made the remarks during an exclusive interview with CCTV. Let's take a look.
Of critical significance is that historically China has always had the claim over the portion that is in dispute. So in that convention of 1994, there is set aside a provision that whereas a country, a state has got a historical precedence, a historical and sovereign claim over the islands, over the maritime lands that we are talking about, then automatically that country starts to have overall claims, starts to have better leverage.
Let's discuss this further. In studio with me now is Professor Masharia Munene, a Sino-African relations expert from the United States International University here in Nairobi. Professor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
What's your reaction to the ruling on the dispute on the South China Sea?
Well, it was expected, not surprising at all. In the first place, there was no arbitration, because in arbitration you need both sides to agree that there should be such a thing, that they can turn to a third party in order to look into the issues, and then they agree whatever the outcome they will abide by. That was not the case. It was, from the start, the procedural issue was skewed in the wrong way. Besides, what we have here is not so much Philippines and China. Philippines is just a proxy for bigger geopolitical forces. So we have realignment, geopolitical realignment in the globe. It is a post-Cold War phenomenon whereby you have two major powers competing for influence in the world. You have the United States that remained as the winner in the Cold War against the Soviet Union. You have China that has emerged as the economic engine of the world, and also as a power unto itself. So the technical issues were the claims. China making the historical claim and asserting its sovereign right to the particular islands, to the region. And you have the Philippines saying that some of those claims are next to its doors, 200 miles of fishing water, things like that. So you find that when the matter came, if it was a question of arbitration, they should have agreed to go to the court. So you have a unilateral decision, one side saying, I'm going to the arbitration. How can you arbitrate without the other party to it?
So what should follow next now?
Well, there will be a lot of noise. There's no question about it. There will be some media coverage. Some people happy that the Philippines won and China supposedly lost. And but you have on the other side the Chinese say they do not recognize the proceedings, they do not recognize the claims, and they will not be affected. So the only country that is supposedly affected very much is the Philippines, because it's the one that went there. China never went there.
Right.
So it is a non-issue for China, one way or the other. But attention has to be paid as to what happens next, because it's not so much what the Philippines will do, it's what the United States will do and what the Chinese will do in reaction to the actions of each other.
Right.
So the danger that might come up is the likely escalation of tensions between the United States and China in the South China Sea. As to that's one of the likely dangers. If China insists on asserting its sovereign right to the region, and now the United States and others say that they can always go in because they claim it's an open sea, then the likelihood of tensions escalating is there, and that is a dangerous thing.
Now, many African countries have voiced their support for China in this dispute. What's at stake for the continent in this arbitration?
Well, first of all, they can see the geopolitical dynamics that were taking place. They have often identified with China's position on international affairs, in part because also China tends to identify with African concerns on international issues. And the Africans have had experience with the miscarriage of justice at the international level. And so this one is seen as another example of what is essentially a European thing conducting a miscarriage of justice in the name of justice. So you have these, and that's the reaction you are getting. Wait a minute. The other side never had, it was not part to it. So how can you say you decided? It's like a team getting in the football field alone, run around and then come say, we have won. That's the picture that comes up. It's not a very good image. Because if the Philippines had gone to the International Court of Justice to sue China, and say we have that would have been a different matter. But to say you are going for arbitration and the person you are doing arbitration with is not there, then it's not an arbitration.
Right.
It's a non-starter.
Right.
So that the African countries can see that, and they're saying this is hogwash.
All right, Professor, we have to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for those insights.